Hola amigos, what's going on? Those who follow me long enough, they know I'm very big advocate for using hardware when making old school jungle. Because to get that vibe, it's best to use the same recipe that was used back in the day, which was mostly an Akai S950 or 1000 sampler, an analog mixing desk, effect units, and maybe a couple of other pieces of equipment, and that's pretty much it. There are two main reasons why I really make music with hardware. First one is the workflow, and the second one is the sound quality. But can you achieve the same sound with just using a computer? Perhaps you can. Just a while ago, me and Jungle Dwasos, we released a 4-track EP of Old School Jungle, where I had two of my tracks included. One was Imaginature, which was done completely with hardware. And the second one was called Cold Tear, which was made entirely on a computer. It's very convenient using your computers for making music, because buying hardware, you need to have money. First of all, you need to find one available, and Akai samplers are getting really rare to find, and they're becoming extremely expensive, to the point that why even bother, you know? So, second, you need space. You know, having hardware, you need space, you need one place to settle your equipment. You need cables, it can get messy, and you know, computers, you just have a laptop with you and maybe a small MIDI controller, keyboard, and that's it. And you can travel wherever you want and make music wherever you want. So there's constant pros to both sides. I just wanted to see if I can actually replicate the sound of my hardware, because I know how it works, what makes the sound what, and then replicate it using computer. And I want to show you how I do it. The first thing that's easy to replicate is the workflow. In my case, when I'm using outboard, I only have 8 channels of audio coming out of my Akai, and I've got extra micro cork, so basically I can have 9-10 channels of stuff going on. It's best to keep it that way. I mean, that's the thing I don't like about computers, is just options, too many options. So you have to forcefully limit yourself to what can you do, otherwise you can end up with too many things happening all at once, and then it's gonna be a mess working on your mix downs. It's gonna be just a mess to organizing stuff, and at least in my case, it's always a mess. So I'd rather have a few things to work with, but I can have, you know, interesting arrangements, always try to introduce new things, new, break programming, new melodies, instead of having one loop of 6 minutes, continuously playing and then just adding one sound, another sound, and basically keep it that way. I mean, it's boring. So I like variety, and I like the fact that having few things to work with, you know, it gets you in a bigger creative space to trying to, you know, come up with ideas and arrangements and melodies and stuff. So in my case, what do I have? By the way, I'm gonna be using Reason for this presentation, because this is the software I'm really comfortable with, apart from Cubase. However, you can replicate all these things using your favorite DAW, like Ableton and whatever. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 channels of information. I've got an amen break. I've got another break. I have yet another break. I have an 808 bass. And then I have pads, Roland JV 1080. I've got D50. Another JV. And vocals. And I also have a tambourine loop, only as audio. Now, for most of the things, I'm using samplers. Samplers, loaded with breaks. I only have, what do I have? I'm using the Roll on Cloud, where is this? Roland Cloud GV1080 is basically a perfect replication of the hardware unit. Yeah, it sounds good, so why not use it? It gives you instantly, 90s vibes. Also have the Roland Cloud D50, absolutely wonderful plugin, accurately models the real thing. Also have the delay lexicon reverb to use on my Sense. Now, the secret sauce to replicating the crispy breaks is using this plugin. Well, I'm using this RX950. It's supposed to be replicating the Akai S950 sound. Close enough. I mean, if you compare them side by side, like I did with my S1000, it sounds close. There are minor differences, but in the context of a mix, it really kind of sounds pretty spot on. So this is what I'm using, and the trick of it is when I'm using my Akai, I always sample at half bandwidth. So instead of 44 kilohertz, I sample at 22 kilohertz, and it's all about the high frequencies. Hardware has this really nice roll-off of high frequencies, and which is very different from digital, because digital is usually too many high frequencies, and that's what gives it away when we talk about digital. So I always control my audio bandwidth till about 15 hertz, 15 kilohertz, because I mean that's a safe spot to use it. How the break sounds without the plugin, and now with the plugin. Same with another break. Amen break without. Close. Also keep in mind, I always keep everything at mono. Like all my input channel, all my sources are basically mono. I'm only using the reverb and delays on Sense, just to give them a bit more space if needed. In terms of EQ, I don't do much. If you take my Amen break, if you take my breaks, I usually just cut a bit of a high pass filter and just do little gentle dips. And on my master bus, I'm using this satin plugin by this company. I don't know how you pronounce it, Yuhi. It sort of simulates a tape. I'm adding slightly bit of hiss, because I like having the hiss in the background, a little bit input, and I adjust azimuth to give it some imperfections in the stereo field, imperfections of a cassette tape or tape in general, and it kind of sounds really good. So pretty much everything is pretty simple. I mean, 8-9 sources of sounds to work with. No compression, just a gentle EQ. I mean, RX950 on pretty much everything. All the sources should be mono, and the only stereo should be coming from the Sense, delay and reverbs. So basically that's it. Have fun and see you on the next video.